Eagles Preview 85 is brought to you by your New England Ford dealers. Nobody goes further. You'll find it all in the Globe. And Bud Light, the light beer with the light. And by Accountants, specializing in temporary accountants and
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Eagles Preview 85. Mike Lynch along with Jack Bicknell. This week we've got defensive line coach Orfio Collilouri with us. And we are not here at an unusual time. We're here at 11:30, and this is the time we're going to be on every Saturday for the rest of the days now. Here's a team that really has been a stubborn opponent for you the last 2 seasons anyway.
I really feel good about people back. Quality quarterback, quality running back, some big physical kids. It's a tough game, not just for us, but for everybody in the East. Nobody wants to play Temple because they're going to hit you, and they're going to stay after you, and they got a lot of tough kids.
Or if we're going to get into this a little bit deeper later on in the program, but what makes Temple such a stubborn team for Boston College?
I think Coach mentioned the physical aspect. That's the thing that Temple's always played us very tough physically. They're a run-oriented team as opposed to what we've been used to seeing against Brigham Young and prepared for all preseason. So the style of offense is going to change drastically. It's going to be a real physical football game.
Jack, the last 9 days, you had the weekend off after the Brigham Young game, back to work, and now you got a regular schedule. No open dates all the way through until the Holy Cross game. You like it better that way, or would you like to have a couple open dates?
I like the open dates. I always have liked open dates, but I think the only thing I got to be careful is to not make our kids too tired. I just got to be careful that we're fresh and ready to play, because I think that's the most important thing on game day. You just have to feel great and ready to go.
All right, you've seen the films. Anything you like or dislike in particular?
Saw a lot of things I liked. I saw some things I didn't like. And I think the improvement that I expect from our football team from the first game to the second game is drastic, a dramatic improvement, because that's something you really got to work on. The kids have got to understand they've got to get better, and now's the time, boy, because we need this win.
All right, gentlemen, sit tight. We're going to take a look back at some more plays from that BYU game. Plus, we'll analyze some of the practice sessions BC has had over the past week. We'll do all that and more when we continue right here on Eagles Preview 85. This approach is to put it behind you and move on to the next game on the schedule. However, if you are a football coach or a player, you've got to spend plenty of hours in the film room looking at the films of the game the week before. Brigham Young University, I know you didn't dwell on it too much, but there has to be some things that you have to point out as tools to learn, especially for this game today against Temple.
We usually look very carefully at film. Occasionally, if we have a game we just didn't play well, we'll just forget it. But in Brigham Young, we think there were a lot of points that were very positive. There were a lot of kids that played extremely well, and we wanted to point those things out. And then there were some situations where we didn't play very well. And the key thing from this football game standpoint is that no one lost their job. We didn't change a lot of people. We're not panicking. We think we're going to be a good football team. We just wanted to work with them and explain to them, not holler at them and scream at them, because they're embarrassed enough. People are saying the secondary let up a lot of yards, and they were saying Halloran didn't do this and didn't do that. We wanted to tell them the good things they did do, but then we wanted to make them realize that we've got to get better.
Let's start with some of the good things. Troy Stratford, a 100-yard game.
100-yard game in a not a tailback game. You know, I mean, certainly he could get 200 yards. We just lined him up in the eye and just ran after him. I don't think we'd move the football as well. Troy played extremely well. I thought that Scotty Gieselman had 9 catches, and Scotty had a great preseason, is going to have an exceptional year. I feel our offensive line played extremely well. For the most part, a young right guard, Joey Wolf, who has never played in there before, and had a good game. I was happy with Mark Koweski at center because Jack was out, and he did a fine job. So all in all, I was pleased with a lot of the kids we had.
Some of the things you'd like to see from your quarterback today against Temple that you might not have seen against Brigham Young University for any number of reasons. What would they be if you could list them, maybe 1, 2, 3 from Sean?
Number one, I just like them to be more aggressive. I just like them to be more confident, and that's easy to say. You can't go to a kid and say, all right, from now on, have confidence. I mean, it's something you've got to develop, and I think he's developed that in this practice week, and understand that we believe in him, and we're not going to, throw him out the door. And if he'll just have that, and then read his keys and throw the football with confidence, everything will be fine. And I'm not at all discouraged about what he's done. Now, he realizes that, hey, now's the time. I got to do it, because he knows I'm not going to go with him forever and ever and ever. You know, we've got to be in a position where Steve Peach has to have some consideration. But Sean knows exactly what the story is. I'm sure he's going to have a fine game today.
All right, let's move on the other side of the ball. Orf, 27 yards on the ground. Brigham Young had rushing or somewhere thereabouts. Makes you look like a genius there. Did you take the week off?
Well, I'll tell you, Brigham Young really only had 2 running plays that they featured, and that was a handoff sweep. And the play that worried us the most from the running game was the draw trap that they ran. The team that throws the ball so much, when they run a draw, that's obviously a very effective weapon. So we spent a lot of time working on the draw trap aspect of the ball game, and I thought we did a real good job of it. I don't think they really hurt us with it. The only little bit of yards they got running on was real late in the ball game when, 85th play of the game, they maybe squeaked a sweep out there for 10 yards. But we shut the run down completely, and we're really a few long passes away from having a real good statistical day all around. And that's one of the experiences that you got to live through when you're early in the season.
You know, a lot of people, the casual fan on the street will say, well, you put a lot of pressure on Bosco the first quarter or so, but then it seemed like he had an awful lot of time after that. Adjustments that they might have made or you might have made to maybe explain to the guy that might not be privy to some of the information that we are?
Well, it's a combination of the two. Anytime you go after a quarterback, if you go after him with a blitz, for example, you're putting your defensive backs in pure man-to-man coverage situations, and they had beaten us on a couple of balls, and with those young guys in the secondary, we felt that let's not put the pressure on them as much, and let's put the pressure on the front, the experienced guys, and I thought we could get to them with a 4-man rush, and even on a few occasions a 3-man rush, and we did. We put pressure on them. We exerted enough pressure on Bosco in the second half to affect a pretty decent game plan. It just was one of those things.
All right, I want you to sit back and enjoy this now, because the guy that you have the most pleasure coaching is number 68. And I think anybody who saw that Brigham Young game will agree that the performance by Mike Ruth was indeed classic. Football games still to be played, but I think you get yourself a candidate for the Outland Trophy right there in Mike Ruth.
Well, he's a good football player. There's no question about that. I'd be lying to you if I said he wasn't. Mike's very fatalistic about those kind of things. You mentioned that to him. Whatever is to be is to be. That's the way he approaches it, and he practices every day and plays every game just like it's his last. So it makes my job easy.
I think he exceeds all levels that he has set for himself every time he goes out.
Well, ironically, he's getting better, which is a little scary. I've coached him for 3 years now, and you wonder how good can a guy get and how much progress can a guy make, and he gets better. He's not this raging bull that you might think he is. He's very technique conscious, and he's very assignment conscious, and he's getting better. It's remarkable.
Same situation you were in last year with Doug. Orf has one this year. You had one last year.
Well, it's true. Michael just goes out and plays so hard and wants it so badly. I just hope everything stays the way it should be in terms of injuries because he's got a great, great career ahead of him.
All right, much more to come here on Eagles Preview 85. We'll turn the pages back one more time, and we'll take a look at where are they now. Stay with us.
Product of the class of 1959 and a stalwart receiver whose endless contributions to the maroon and gold will not go unforgotten. Flanagan's dynamic dedication to the 59 Eagle squad will be remembered for his tenacity to make the team from being a virtual unknown out of high school and for his famous Hail Mary basketball catch against Holy Cross in 1958. I caught a moment with Jack recently at BC, where the ex-Eagle reflected on his gridiron days.
College gets kind of serious. I mean, that's scholarship time, that's an education. Pros, you're up there to make money. You know, and you're really on your own on that one. But it's the college is when it really starts to get tough. The double sessions, and you go through some real tough times, and everyone's suffering together. And you got esprit de corps, you got a college attitude, a spirit that you want to win. It's the rah-rah, that whole type of thing. And you really do get close to people. I mean, you know, you see the enthusiasm when you score a touchdown and someone makes a great play. It's just super. You know, and the fun part of it is when you get through the reminiscing and talking about that game or that particular practice session. Man, if you weren't there, you can't understand it. I get down there, you can feel it. You still, you know, the turf's a little bit different. Okay? It looks a little harder from up in the stairs than it did in the old grass. But you get that same enthusiasm, that same feeling. You almost re-identify with the whole thing. And the fun part is you can see the fun that the kids are having doing it. You can reminisce back and find and totally understand what that fun was. You know, the feeling of the crowd, you know, that band playing for Boston, the whole thing. I mean, you still get the goosebumps when you do the thing. It's just totally exciting coming back here.
Flanagan's endless stories are highlighted by his particular respect for ex-Ram great Dick Bass.
And he was a talent, I want to tell you. He played in the pros for 5 or 7 years, but he came in, I can remember the first week, we huddled up before the game, and Mike Hollenbeck said to the kicker, he says, "Don't kick it to Bass." Well, we kick it right to Bass. I fortunately wasn't part of this. I kind of watched this. I think Eddie DeGraw had the first shot at him. Eddie took a second shot at him at the 50-yard line, finally made the tackle on the 30-yard. He had to run 250 yards in that. However, during the ball game, Hollenbeck had put in a unique defense with Eisenhower and I just going anywhere this guy went. And we held him to under 50 yards, and the whole club, I think, to under 100 and some odd yards that game. But he certainly was a football player.
But Jack Flanagan's fondness will always be with Boston College.
Like, you know, you look at this campus, I can see all these old buildings and reminisce of the class we had. Then you see these libraries and just the facilities are magnificent. But the old times are still here, I want to tell you. Well, you look down there, I can look at Bill Flynn, our athletic director. Bill's not around, so I can tell you what we call him. We call him the Whip. He was my end coach when we were here, and he was one tough one. He still is. I'd hate to put the pads on with him now. Nor with any of the kids that are playing football now. I want to tell you, I look at those kids playing and I talk to Donnie Allen and people like that, and we kind of reminisce. And we don't think they're any tougher. And we don't think they love the game anymore. But they sure are bigger and faster. I want to tell you. I wouldn't want to try to make that club last year or this year.
I think Bick could find room for Jack Flanagan on this year's squad, but if he was here, he'd be doing his work right now because there's a Temple team that I don't know what it is, but the last couple of years, it's just couldn't get rid of them.
Well, you know, they're just the type of team that we were, I think, a couple of years ago, where you don't really get an awful lot of respect from a lot of your opponents, and you know, they've just been zapping people enough now that everyone is very much aware of Temple. They beat West Virginia last year. They finished with 3 wins in the final part of their season, and they came off that with a lot of momentum, and they really think, Bruce Arians, their coach, really thinks they're going to be an excellent football team, and I think they're a very, very worthy opponent.
Or if last year was a game that you won with defense, a big Dave Pereira interception return for a touchdown that really won the ball game for you. Offensively, if you look at the statistics, this maybe might have been a game that you probably should not have won, but defense really bailed the team out.
We've always played good defense against Temple, and they've always played good defense against us. It's always been a dogfight. I grew up in the Philadelphia area. I'm aware of the Temple, the style of football they play. Real hard-nosed kids, real tough kids. They pose some problems to us offensively. They, aside from their physical run game, they get in the eye and just hammer it at you. They run the option, which is now you're involving a little more finesse. you combination, the option with a hard-nosed running game, then you limit your coverages. You can't play a lot of man coverage. They'll try to burn you with the option if you do, and it's a combination of finesse and power.
Two names people are going to hear on the broadcast today. It'll be Lee Saltz and then Paul Palmer, their tailbacks.
Right. Lee's a real capable quarterback. Runs the option real well. And Paul Palmer is he's lightning in a bottle. He can really fly, accelerates real well, catches the ball, and he's thrown a couple halfback passes too, so they'll toss it back to him. You'll come up to close on him, and next thing you know, we'll throw a 50-yard bomb. And we got to be real disciplined.
Anything can happen with Temple. I remember the fake field goal last year that really caught you napping.
Well, that, and I remember 3 years ago, we lost, 2 years ago, we won 18-15 down there. We missed 5 field goals, if you remember that game, and we were lucky to just get out of town alive. So it's a real tough football game for us, but the good thing is our kids know that. It's not something that they think is we're just going to go out and play a game and win. They know it's a tough one. Plus, you know, coming off a loss, you need a win. So I really think our kids are ready for a great effort.
First game for Temple, you've already had a game. Advantage to you guys having played a football game?
I believe so. They do have film of our game, so they've analyzed our football team, and we don't have a chance to analyze them because they haven't played yet. And yet, the fact that we played a game, I believe, is an advantage to our side.
Can't stress the importance of getting a W right away in the season, especially for this group and a guy like Sean Halloran. Just getting the W right away.
W is very important right now. You know, I think, you know, it's an 11-game season, and you say, well, you take them one game at a time, but you need to get some confidence and build some confidence early. And without putting a great deal of pressure on our team, I think I realize that this is a very, very critical game, because if you win this one, you can get back and get yourself geared up for the long haul, because we got an awfully tough September. If you lose this one, that makes it that much tougher. Yeah, you can bounce back and win the next 10, but it still makes it a lot tougher.
It should be exciting. You open up at home, too. It's always something that people that have been waiting all year long, 9 months, maybe didn't make the trip down to the Meadowlands. They get to see the team at home, so that's for an awful lot of excitement and a lot of things to look forward to.
We love playing at home. We love playing in Alumni Stadium. There'll be 32,000 people, and games sold out, and there's going to be a lot of excitement, and that's important to our players as well.
Okay, we'll be back to wrap it up right here on Eagles Preview 85. Stay with us. Stadium, the home opener for Boston College against the Temple Owls. And Collilouri, BC defensive line coach. It's been 9 days since you played, and boy, when you lose a football game, the next game just can't come soon enough.
You get that right. We'd like to play this one right after the Brigham Young game, just about give us a half hour to get loosened up. But the kids are real anxious to play. They've practiced real well all week. Morale's been real good, and we're excited about playing. We just can't wait to get going.
I want to bring up one quick point. Mike Ruth is a guy a lot of people are focusing on the defensive line. He's got a pretty good ball player by the name of John Boza right next to him.
John Boza has had a great preseason, played a real good football game in the Brigham Young game. Matter of fact, one of Mike's sacks came as a result of the great play that John Boza made. We expect him to be, they're going to spend a lot of time worrying about Mike Ruth. They're going to have their hands full with John.
All right, Jack, a couple people we will not see today because of injuries.
Stephen Williams, a running back, Tyrone Taylor, running back. So we have our number 1, and we go down to number 4. And Ted Gaffney is going to play, but he's a little bit shaky on an ankle. Sean Dombrowski is back. Jack Bicknell is still out with the back.
All right, against Brigham Young, you threw the ball more than you thought you would. Did you surprise yourself? Will we see it in the air as much today against Temple?
But a lot will depend on the tempo of the game and how the game's. We're a throwing football team, and we're going to be throwing the football.
You scored first against BYU. Might have been a different ball game.
That was true. We had a chance to get in there early, and scoring first, all said and done, I don't care if it's 10-9 or whatever.
BC Temple coming.
And you'll find it all in the Globe. Wiser.
Champion Brigham Young University in the kickoff class. As the quarterback replacement for trophy winner Doug. Eastern football is this year. It will be increasingly difficult for any team to dominate and claim the Lambert Meadowlands Trophy. And today, the Eagles face a severe test as they take on the Owls from Temple University. From Alumni Stadium on the campus of Boston College, the Temple Owls, College Eagles. And we welcome you not only to Chestnut Hill Heights here at Boston College, as it is often referred to, but also to the inaugural telecast here on TEN of Eastern College football. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve Zabriskie, and working with me is former Penn State All-American and former All-Pro for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Jack Ham. You know, Jack, BC is looking upon this year in many respects as the year 1 AD after Doug. And Sean Halloran, for that reason, as the new quarterback, had a lot of pressure going on to the kickoff classic against BYU. He's got a game under his belt. Some of the pressure is off. But how much of an advantage is it not only for him, but for the team to have played a game and Temple just opening the season today?
Well, I think it's quite an advantage for Boston College. I think Jack Bicknell found out that some of his players can play under pressure. Halloran has that game experience. And the other side of the coin, Coach Arians is not sure how a lot of his young people are going to play. He's got two young...